Welcome to the Spotlight Series podcast. I'm your host, Slick Sean. Man, I got the dopest gig in the world. I get to have conversations with entertainers and entrepreneurs and listen to their inspiring stories. You can stream the podcast at spotlightseries.net, watch on Roku TV, Facebook Watch, IGTV, and listen on all podcast platforms. In a world full of darkness, the spotlight is on you. What's good? This is the homie Slick Sean with the Spotlight Series podcast. I got a special guest today. This brother is talented. He's an award-winning content creator and social media influencer. He makes viral hip-hop and pop culture memes. He's wrote for Marvel Comics alongside with Charlemagne the God. He's currently working with the Boondocks producer Carl Jones at his animation studio and creative agency called Marsha and Blueberry. Welcome to the Spotlight Series podcast, Chris Miles, aka Critics of Culture. What's good, fam?
Yo, I just want to say that's probably one of the best intros I've ever had. Thank you for showing me love, man.
For sure, man. I like to big up my guests, man. But yeah, appreciate that.
You know, the grind don't stop, so I'm always working. You know, I still have a part-time gig, so you know what I do when I'm working part-time is I work at a call center. So today's actually my day off, and that's the reason why I want to meet up with you. But even on my days off, you know, I'm still, you know, working at the animation studio. I'm always editing. I'm always, you know, in constant motion, consistently working. Then, you know, I have the Critics of Culture page, so I'm always posting on there. So always being consistent is just something that I've learned that even when you're not motivated, consistency will take you places, you know, experience can't all the time. And a lot of times you gain certain experiences because you was consistent, because you never gave up. So I just, you know, want to share that.
Man, that's true, man. And funny you bring that up. A person that's I think I heard it's a saying I heard, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Right.
It's similar to that. Like, you know, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not putting in the work, you're not being consistent, then somebody that's less talented than you, they could go further because they putting in that work. So yeah, that's sauce you dropping right there for sure.
Right. And I want to even share something further. Like, I think, you know, the perception of people that have those successful moments that, you know, people see on social media, whether it's, you know, meeting a public figure, a celebrity or whoever, or getting a big opportunity, you know, what you don't see online is the most important part. And that goes back to what you just said, the hard work.
Yeah.
So, you know, just to give an example, I remember when I worked at Bojangles, you know, that was one of my very first jobs. You know, a lot of the other people that worked the job were better than me. They were, you know, they were quicker. They've been there longer. So of course they just were naturally better than me at the job. And I had a hard time because it was my first time working there and it was a fast paced environment. I never really had to multitask like that, you know, prior to working there. But one thing that I always did was I made sure the bathrooms were really clean. You know, I always made sure that no matter what happened during the day, whether I was a little bit slow during a rush or maybe I made a mistake, one thing the managers always knew is that they can count on me cleaning the bathrooms because the other employees that were better than me at the job, they never wanted to clean the bathroom. So they always did a half-assed job. Me, I made sure that bathroom was clean. And what happened was I ended up getting more hours than everyone on the shift because the managers liked the fact that I made sure the bathrooms were clean. So, you know, sometimes character can take you a long way as well. You know, you just being able to be easy to work with, basically. You know, sometimes you can be great at what you do, but you might not be the best person to want to work with or be around. So character and personality can also take you a long way, as well as hard work. I just want to share that because I think a lot of people sometimes overlook these you know, small things when it comes to being successful or when you're on the journey of whether you want to call it entrepreneurship or just the road less traveled anyway. And anyway, it's easy when you
Yeah.
work a regular 9 to 5, and for a fact your next paycheck is gonna be there within 2 weeks, because all you have to do is these things over here. But it's different when you don't know if this idea, this hustle, or this investment is gonna work out. So
Right.
I just want to share that with everybody who's just trying to make a living, whether they're working a 9 to 5 or they're going the road less travel, which is trying to break into whatever industry you want to do.
Yeah. For sure. And then a lot of times you can have all that talent, and like you said, if you don't have that character, then that whatever you got with that talent, you could lose all of that stuff just from having bad character. So yeah,
Right.
you're right, man. Definitely lessons. So people, I hope y'all are taking heed, because that's definitely good lessons right there. Dope stuff, man. So I'm gonna get into a couple of questions. I say questions, but it's really just a conversation, man, we having. So where you from?
Well, I'm from Virginia, a county near Richmond, which is the capital, called Chesterfield. That's where I spent
Hmm.
most of my time growing up. So, yeah, from VA, the same place. The Timberlands, the Missies, Pharrell's,
No doubt.
Skills, the Clips. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Trey Songz, Chris Brown. I'm from the exact same state, but I'm on the 804. A lot of the people I mentioned, they're on 757. That's like Virginia Beach and
Yeah.
Norfolk, Hampton. But I'm on the 804 side of Virginia. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's where I'm from. Doesn't really have too many opportunities when it
Hmm.
comes to media. It's not really a media market. It's never really had that type of infrastructure. One thing, Virginia is a very conservative state, so one of their biggest resources out here is tobacco. Philip Morris is out here, and they
Yeah.
have a lot of industrial and warehouse type of jobs. Like Amazon is out here, Amazon warehouse, Walmart distribution. Um, they're bringing a Lego company out here. Like, so they really tend to focus more so on warehouse and industrial
Big
uh
business.
types of
Yeah.
jobes and businesses.
Yeah. Is that where
But
you are now? That's where you stay now?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay.
still in Virginia. I,
Gotcha. Okay.
haven't left. I've yet, even someone as me who has had success, and has had moments working with people in the industry. I'm still not necessarily where I want to be yet. So, I haven't got that life changing opportunity yet. But the grind don't stop. The marathon continues, as Nipsey Hussle would always say.
Right. I mean, a lot of us are at that point. I heard you say that you still have a corporate job. Like I went part time on my corporate job probably about 2 years ago. I chose me. Like I chose to just do less of that and more of stuff like this. Like I wouldn't be able to do this interview with you had I not went part time. So it's a good balance, being able to balance, your dreams and the corporate stuff that you're still doing. But yeah, I hadn't had that life changing moment either. But I know it's gonna happen for you and me both. I pray that day comes for you, and when that happens, you'll know it. When it do happen, because you'll
Thank
be
you. I
able to
appreciate.
look at your job and be like, wait, do I need this job?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the
uh,
goal. But nah, thank you. I appreciate that.
yes,
But
sir.
yeah, um I think for me it's probably 2016 where I quit my full-time job. And at the time I was pursuing acting. I wanted
Hmm.
to be in movies and TV shows, because they every now and again, not all the time, but every now and again they'll shoot a film out here.
Yeah,
But usually it's a historical film, because Virginia still has a lot of their historical landmarks.
yeah,
So when Steven Spielberg came out here to shoot Lincoln, I was an extra in it, and
yeah,
I was able to be in the film. So it kind of gave me the acting bug, because after the film, Steven Spielberg shook all the extras' hands,
yeah,
and it put a seed in me, because it made me realize that this might be something I can do, and it just made me want to chase it. So I was in a lot of different movies and TV shows as a background extra. I've done some independent films. I was even I'm not gonna say it was a Tubi movie, because at the time Tubi didn't exist, but I even shot some independent films that are now on Tubi. I'll say
Yeah.
that. So I was doing that for a while, and I was like, man, I should move to Atlanta because Atlanta is a great area when it comes to acting. Like the industry, this was back when Atlanta was like just starting to
Hmm.
become the new hub
Yeah.
for TV and film. So we're talking like mid 2010. So this is when Marvel relocated out there
Yeah.
and The Walking Dead was out there. So you had a bunch of different productions going on in Atlanta. So I was like, oh, well, I need to move to Atlanta. So originally, I had saved up some money to move to Atlanta. Kind of got cold feet because I never took a leap of faith before.
Hmm.
So I quit my full time job and uh, and ended up not moving. I just kind of because I saved my money. I had saved a bunch of money to save up and move, but because I never moved, I was just kind of sitting on it for a while and just chilling. But in the midst of me doing that, I'm trying to create my own platform, and
Yeah.
so that was my first time trying to, you know, do something different. Didn't necessarily work out, in time waits for no man. So eventually my bank account is running low. And I find out about this one place where they'll let you work whenever you want to. It's called Labor Finders. So what I would do is whenever I needed some money, I would work there. And, whenever I needed some time off to do whatever it is I needed to do, I would do that. So it had a very flexible schedule.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because that job allowed me to go to New York because in 2017 I came up with this idea and I said I need to pitch this idea to either Charlemagne or Joe Budden. So I went to New York in 27. I mean, I'm sorry, I went to New York in 2018. Joe Budden was having an event. I was like, I'm gonna go to his event, try to network him. When I went, he seemed like he didn't want to be bothered, so I left him alone. Just gave him dap and kept it moving. But Charlemagne, on the other hand, he was having an event at Foot Locker
Hmm.
because Fubu was doing a relaunch. So all the founders of Fubu were having this event at Foot Locker, and Charlemagne was interviewing them. And crazy part is, I didn't even know that event was gonna happen. I was just scrolling through my phone, and I just happened to see
Yeah.
that event was happening. So me meeting Charlemagne wasn't it was planned on my end, but I never knew how I was gonna meet him. I just told
Gotcha.
myself, I'm going to New York and I'm going to meet Charlemagne. I didn't know how, didn't know when, didn't know where. But another reason why I bring that up is because timing is just as important as the grind.
Yeah. It
When
is.
timing meets preparation,
Hmm.
it's a match made in heaven. And I'm not saying that everything worked out when I met him, but what I will say is I was able to get his contact, and we was able to keep a line of communication and build a rapport. And because I was always going out there from January of 2018 to June of 2018, we was like I said, I was consistently seeing him just randomly. I'm like, hey, I'm in town, just trying to chop it up with him, trying to pitch this idea and sell it, just sell the concept of it, so he might want to, actually want to be involved in it. And that didn't necessarily pan out, but what we did gain was a rapport with each other.
Yeah.
So a year later, what happened was he emailed me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this story for Marvel Comics. I want to do a character about I want to do a story about Ironheart or a story about Blue Marvel." And these are two black characters, by the way. I don't know if you know comic books or any of that
Hmm.
stuff, but one is a little black girl. The
Yeah.
other one is a older black man. And I chose Blue Marvel, and it was a Christmas story, and I gave Charlemagne a whole concept, and he liked the concept, and that's how I was able to get my first writing credit. So
Yeah.
we was able to do a short story for Marvel Comics together, and that was my first and made but probably my one of my biggest opportunities. But it was definitely my first one because it's Marvel, and because it's with Charlemagne. But
Yeah.
all of that took, y- I I say about a year and some change, of me, always keeping in contact with Charlemagne, running
Mm-hmm.
up to New York every now and again from Virginia. Mind you, New York isn't around the corner. So I'm hopping on the Greyhound, I'm hopping on the China bus, and when I went to New York,
What's the China bus? What's that?
y- so the China bus is one of the well, that's what they call it, or the Chinese bus.
Yeah.
So it's owned by I'm assuming they're Chinese. I don't want to make an assumption. I think it's
Yeah.
owned by Chinese people, but it's an Asian owned bus company,
Oh,
and they
okay.
will commute people up and down the East Coast.
Gotcha.
So I would take their bus line from Virginia to New York, or I would do the Greyhound, or I would go from the China bus from New York back down to Virginia.
Yeah.
So I would take that bus line, and when I would go to New York, a lot of times I wasn't even. I have family in New York. I have family in Long Island, but
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact New York City, is the hub. That's where everything's going on. I
Right.
didn't want to go to the areas where wasn't too much going on. So I didn't want to play it safe by having, the luxury of being able to stay with family. So what I did was I thugged it out. I slept in the subways, I slept at McDonald's, I slept outside, I slept in a homeless shelter. So anytime when I would go to New York, I was always just kind of living homeless, not because I didn't have money or not because I didn't have support, but because I knew I have to stay in the area where everything's happening at.
Right.
Because
True.
as I was walking down New York, I randomly got invited to go to the Tribeca Film Festival. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in the Q&A with Spike Lee and Alec Baldwin. So it's like it'll be situations like that
Mm-hmm.
that happen. So that was just one of the many lessons I learned once I started this journey
Mm-hmm.
is sometimes you got to be consistent, and sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone too. you
Yeah.
know Sometimes you can't be where you're comfortable at, because that's not going to help you grow. Sometimes you have
Right.
to be uncomfortable in order to grow. So but yeah, so all of that was in 2018, and I didn't really get to actually work with Charlemagne until a year and some change later, almost 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So
How was that? How was the whole creative process what y'all worked on?
it was dope. Like I said, we would communicate through email. So one
Mhm.
day he emailed me, and like I said, I came up with the whole concept, and he liked it. So I sent it back to him. He said he liked it, and then when it was time to actually do the dialogue, I did my part, and then sent it back to him, and he did his part. So it
Yeah.
wasn't really one of those things where we was on the phone or we did it in person. We
Mhm.
kind of just did it all via email, and it just worked out like that. One thing I will say though is the person who created the character that we wrote about, he's still alive. His name is Kevin Graveau. He's the one who wrote the Underworld movies.
Mhm.
He played the werewolf in the movie. The black He's a black guy. He's like, he's real big and brolic looking in the film. And what I did was I tagged him on Instagram to not Instagram, Twitter. I tagged him on Twitter to see if he saw me and Charlemagne's story. He said he saw it. He says, "Hey, look, I have another comic book in mind if you guys are game." So, Kevin has his own independent comic book. He's written for Marvel and he's written for other companies, but he also has his own comic book company. And what I did was I connected Kevin with Charlemagne, and if you look online, you'll see that they're actually in business together now. So that's just another, role that I've also played on this
Yeah.
journey is being able to connect dots
Mhm.
and connect people with one another. Because if I know, you're over here doing your thing and this guy's over here is doing his thing, and I know y'all could possibly do business with each other or could be a benefit to one another, I'm definitely going to make sure I get y'all in the same room so y'all can do some business together in the future.
Yeah.
So I was a lot of people don't know that Charlemagne and Kevin Graveau's I'm not saying that the situation worked out because I don't know the status of it, but them getting in contact with each other was through me.
Mhm.
So if you, like I said, if you Google it, you'll see that they're actually working on some things together, and hopefully I'll be a part of it. We'll see.
Yeah, speak it into existence. Yeah, so you'll definitely be part of that. So you basically a connector. You're the plug, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that, but I just want to give a quick. Speaking of plug, want to definitely show love to Kevin's company. It's called Dark Storm Comics.
Shout
His
out to
is
Dark Storm.
Yeah, Dark Storm Comics is out now, and shout out to Charlemagne for giving me my first opportunity and taking a chance on me, because it wasn't just Marvel that where he gave me an opportunity. When I started making the meme page, Critics of Culture, when
Mhm.
I made that page, it was actually on a whim. I wasn't even trying to be a content creator, social media info, none of that stuff. You know what inspired me to make that page? The comedian TK Kirkland. TK Kirkland to me was just hilarious because I would watch his Vlad TV interviews, and the comment section was, consistently making this joke about how he was there for every major historical event, or I don't know if you've seen his interviews, but he has this stigma behind him that he was always a part of something that took place in
I don't think
history.
so.
Like he was in the same cell with Tupac and Mike
Mhm.
Tyson. The comment section was real funny, so I wanted to make some memes about it because I was
Yeah.
like, man, people need to see these jokes in meme form. So what happened was, when I was networking with Charlemagne, well, at least trying to, his homeboy at the time named Wax was always seeing me. He always saw me trying to, talk to Charlemagne and stuff. And finally he talked to me. Wax was like, look, I see you're trying to work with Charlemagne. What you should do is create another Instagram page. And then when you want to show Charlemagne your idea, tag him in it. So just keep the page private, but follow Charlemagne and tag him. That way he can see all of your ideas. So I, got to give a shout out to Wax right quick because, and if you're a fan of Charlemagne, you should know who Wax is. He used to always be on the Brilliant Idiots. He was the tall black dude with the dreads, and he basically, told me to do that, and I did exactly that. But I never, really made anything out of the page. It was just always there. So when I decided to start making memes, I was like, oh wait, I do have this other page that was, suggested suggested to me to make by Wax. Why don't I put my memes on there? So I did exactly that. I started posting my memes on there, made the page public, started tagging different people. Next thing you know, I'm getting reposts. Um, and I started to send my memes to Charlemagne by once again email. I email him to him, and a lot of times he might not hit me back, so I don't even know if he's reading the email or not.
Yeah.
But next thing you know, I see one of my memes on his Instagram page, and Charlemagne's tagging me. So one day he reposted one of my memes, and he tagged me in the caption, and next thing you know, I got like 5,000 followers in 1 week. So I went from like 300 followers to 5,000
Dang.
because I sent him a meme. He thought it was funny, but
Mhm.
he was like, hey, look, add this instead of that. So I changed the meme, sent it back to him, and he reposted it and did exactly what I just told you. And that's one way I was able to grow the page, is he kept reposting a lot of my memes and showing me love and tagging me in them and mentioning me. He's mentioned me on the Breakfast Club, not the breakfast. Yeah, he's mentioned me on the Breakfast Club before, and he's also mentioned me on his podcast, The Brilliant Idiots. So
Yeah, dope.
um so yeah, I would say he's my biggest supporter because he's driven a lot of traffic to Critics of Culture, and not just regular, not just followers or regular people. I'm talking about notable people as well, like celebrities and people in the industry. Like Kenya Barris follows me. Ludacris's manager Shaka Zula follows me, and
Yeah.
you know, segueing into Carl Jones. I don't know this for certain, but I believe Carl Jones started following Critics of Culture because Charlemagne kept reposting me and tagging my
Yeah.
content, and I think that's how he found me. Because eventually one day I just saw that he followed me and I followed him back. So it's just crazy how life works. But then um other platforms started reposting me, like Hip Hop DX and The
Yeah.
Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked and Elliot Wilson and Rap Radar. So a lot of the
Hmm.
hip hop outlets started reposting my memes. So
Yeah, that's dope.
so it was just, and like I said, we're
You got some
talking.
good ones too, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I just want to say
Mhm.
all of this took place in a span from 2019 all the way to now, as far as how long I've had the page.
Yeah.
One of my first memes to go viral was Lizzo. I made a meme.
Hmm.
This is back when Hot Girl Summer was a thing. So I made a meme with Meg The Stallion. I said, I put which what I say, which season are you waiting for? Hot Girl Summer and Meg The Stallion picture, White Girl Winter, Miley Cyrus picture, or Fat Girl Fall. And it was a picture of Lizzo.
Yeah.
And Lizzo reposted it and said, Fat Girl Fall starts September 1st. And so it would be situations like that that just kind of kept happening that made me realize, man, I gotta keep going. I have to be consistent in this because obviously it's bearing some type of fruit. So that was, one of the things that happened early on that made me realize, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. And that kind of even forced, my way of thinking that I think I would be better off getting into writing and producing. So that's really what I want to do because I have a lot of dope ideas.
Yeah.
As you can see, I like to create discussions and debates on various topics. With the memes that I post
Hmm.
and the memes that I make, and I had this idea for an animated series. And once I saw that Carl Jones, and shout out to Carl, he was the producer of the Boondocks and Black Dynamite, and he was the voice of Thugnificent. He started his own animation studio and creative agency. And when I found that out, I was like, yo, I got this animated idea I want to pitch to him. So when I reached out, I'm talking to one of the people that work for Carl. His name is Omar. He's the head of their production. And the same way I've been telling you my story, I told him my story. And I
Yeah.
guess he saw how I could be an asset to the company. So next thing you know, I'm in front of Carl Jones the same way I'm in front of you, like on a Zoom call in an interview style. So eventually they hired me to help manage their social media accounts, help with promo and
Yeah.
networking. Like, so a lot of the things that I do naturally has become an asset to their company. Whether it's me making content, whether it's me editing, whether it's me networking, connecting dots, promoting, just things I'm naturally good at. So I'm just honored, work with Charlemagne and be able to work with Carl. We just did an animated short film for Walmart, and it was about Black fatherhood, but it was going to be released as Father's Day was coming up. That's pretty interesting too. Some of the people that follow me is by way of Charlemagne, and this is why I always got to show Charlemagne love, is because whether it's direct or indirect, he's played a role in a lot of my opportunities. So Ludacris's manager Shaka hit me up and was like, "Hey, I need some animation. Can you connect me with the team?" And I connected Shaka with Carl, and I didn't know what it was for or what it was about, but evidently it was about this Walmart project, and it was originally just going to be a commercial, but it manifested into a short film. So being able to make things like that happen, is means a lot to me because it just shows that nothing is by mistake, nothing is by accident. I'm just happy to be along for the journey. And it's big because this is Walmart. This is Martian Blueberry's biggest project. Prior to that, we did a project with Major League Baseball and the Negro Leagues, and it was 3 episodes of animated stories talking about the historic Black Negro Leagues. And then we also did a project with Meg The Stallion. Meg The Stallion's album before this recent one. Carl did a lot of animated visuals for that album. They were supposed to do a music video, but it never came out. So just know that there's an animated music video of Meg The Stallion that's unreleased, and we probably will never get to see it, but it's out there. I'll just say that. But
Gotcha.
as far as the Walmart project, I just want to say that's really, really huge because it's about Black fatherhood, and Black fatherhood has always been stigmatized
Yeah.
as Black men don't take care of their kids.
Hmm.
Black children grow up without fathers. there's always this negative stereotype or stigma when it comes to black men. So it was actually pretty big when, when Walmart decided to do a short film about it, or even just wanted to work with, Martian Blueberry and Carl Jones in general, because what we're trying to do is change that narrative. So it's called The League, Answering the Call, The League of Black and Unlimited Dads. And that's major because we also don't get a lot of representation when it comes to, the media space. You don't really see too many positive black, role models or black male figures, in any shape or form of media. So you have these heroic dads that are, the theme of it is that, real men don't wear capes. The fathers, they don't wear capes. They're just naturally heroic because they're there for their children.
Right.
So that was, that's basically the theme, is that they're superheroes because they're fathers, and to make it even better, they're black fathers.
Tell us about the award you won for content creation.
So, all right, so what I like to do is I like to network. So I'll go to different events, just trying to network with different people. And one of the events I went to was this con. It's like, you have different cons. You got like Galaxy Con, San Diego Comic Con, like these different cons where a lot of different public figures are going to be there that were in movies and TV shows and, things like that. So I went to one of them, and apparently the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, the character Groot, of course you had the voice actor that played him, but you also had someone doing the hand motions for the character and the body motions and stuff like that. So he was at the event, and next to him was his manager / older brother Yasi. And Yasi is affiliated with Too Hot Radio. And I just kept a line of communication with him, just letting him know who I am. Basically just telling him I told him my story, and we just kept in contact. And one day he hit me up. He said, "Hey, look, what are you doing on October? I think it was October 1st, 2022." I said, "I don't got too much going on. What's up?" He says, "Okay, well, we want to honor you. We want to give you an award for everything that you've done." And I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it because, I don't make memes to get awards. I don't create with that stuff in mind. Anything creative I've done, and I've done a lot of creative things. I've made content for Pusha T. Like, I know this guy who works at Def Jam. He hit me up one day and said, "Hey, Pusha T's got this new song called Diet Coke. We want to create some visuals for it. Do you think you can create some?" And Pusha T ended up reposting, the content I made for him in his story.
Yeah.
So it's like, it'll be, situations like that'll happen where I'll do something and not expect something to happen in return that can benefit me. So when I got that, when Yasi hit me up and told me I was getting an award, it was mind blowing. But of course I went. It was in Atlanta. And I don't know if you remember, but a few years ago, there was like this hurricane that was coming up the from Florida going up the East Coast. And it was on that night that I left. I was like, yo, I'm gonna have to drive down to Atlanta in this hurricane, because what happened was, originally I was gonna take the bus. I was gonna take Greyhound. But Greyhound canceled their trips. So I couldn't, because like I said, because of the hurricane, so I couldn't take Greyhound. So the night before the event, I drove all the way down there from Virginia all the way to Atlanta. And luckily I made it. I made it down there and I made it back. But like I said, it was a dope experience. Got to meet a lot of people, got to network, got to share my story with people. And it just made me grind even harder, because that, like I said, that was in 2022. And not long after that was when I got the opportunity to work with Carl at his animation studio. So that's why I say these things take time, and you have to be consistent. Because had I not been consistent and gave up, I would have never gotten that award. And I would have never gotten a chance to work with Carl or Charlemagne. had I not persevered, had I not, took myself out of the comfort zone. And sometimes you even have to go the extra mile. Sometimes you have to do a little bit more than you would
Yeah,
like to do.
for
That's
sure.
another thing too. Like, if it's sometimes it's not enough to just manage someone's social media page. Why don't you make some content for the page too? Why don't you make some memes? Why don't you network with some other people that might be interested in some animation? Why don't you share the project with any and everyone that you know that might appreciate it? Share it with people that you don't know if they'll appreciate it or not. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want to do anything great in life, if you want to make a change, if you want to make a difference, if you want to make your mark in this world, you have to go the extra mile. And I'm not saying you need to do anything illegal. I'm not saying you need to do anything unethical. I'm just saying that you cannot do what everyone else is doing, and you have to work and go even harder.
Yeah, because I met you at the Too Hot Radio event and got your IG, and
Right.
that's how we linked up. Yeah.
Right. And had I worked a 9 to 5 or a full-time job, I would have never, made any of these accomplishments or met you or went to those events, because a 9 to 5 is a safety net. And some people need a safety net, but then some people need to take risks
For
because,
sure.
what I like to think is big risk, big reward.
Big risk, big reward. Man, I appreciate you again, man. I can't thank you enough for coming through. You know, this podcast would not be as good as it is without people like you coming on, people that got stuff going on, you in the industry. And I just want to let you know, man, we appreciate everything you do for the culture. You done a meme for me. I don't know if you remember, but you done
Yeah,
one for me.
I remember. I remember. Well,
Uh,
one thing I will leave with is, everyone, please make sure you check out Answering the Call, the League of Black and Unlimited Dads. It's available now on the Walmart YouTube page. I really want a lot of people to check that film out, because if it works, then we'll be able to get more opportunities, and we can show, companies like Walmart that the black dollar and black support is important, and it's also effective. A lot of these
yes.
a lot of these major corporations, they only look at us when there's a profit involved or when it's trendy, but we need to show that it's important to be, culturally diversified as well as supportive. I think a lot of times we'll have these moments where everyone wants to practice and preach supporting black owned businesses and things like that, but it never truly lasts. And I think they need to understand that there's a certain level of cultural cachet that black Americans have in this country, and they will never have access to that unless they rock with us. And the moment we decide we no longer need y'all are gonna be in trouble. So you're better off rocking with us anyway. We ain't realized it yet, but the moment we all wake up and realize we don't need all these different, major companies and outlets,
Hmm.
all we need is ourselves, they're going to be in big trouble. So you
Yeah.
better off rocking with us and partnering with us, so we can make some major moves and make some things happen in a major way, and not just for the money, also for the opportunity as well as the message.
Yeah. That black dollar is in the trillions. That
Right.
black dollar big.
Black dollar, black support, black momentum. Let's be
Hmm.
honest. A
Yeah.
lot of the There's a lot. I know for a fact Disney met their quota when Black Panther came out, because of all the black people that was going to see that movie over and over and over again,
Yeah.
such as myself. So, and that stuff matters.
It really does, man.
And then also there was a lot of momentum that was being built on social media before the movie even came out. I remember all the Black Panther memes, like
And then
when
that Kendrick Lamar album, man.
exact, and those are just like what Kendrick did at his show. That's not just a commercial moment. That's a
Mm-mm.
cultural moment. That's
Cultural
culture
moment.
right there, and you
Yeah.
can't buy that.
No, you can't.
Right, and that's why I said Walmart rocking with us. That's a major look. So shout out to Walmart as well. Shout out to Walmart for having
Out
the,
to
you
Walmart.
know, the wherewithal to know that, hey, we need to tap in with some people from the culture and the community, and they did exactly that. So shout out to them. Shout out to you, bro. Like, I can't wait to see what you do with your platform, and connect you with some people that I think will be great guests on this platform.
Yeah, appreciate you, fam. And while you giving Charlemagne flowers, I want to give him some too, man. I built a website for my music. somebody saw my website, wanted me to do an audio series that was produced by Charlemagne the God and Kevin Hart's production company, and I ended up doing 2 audio series with their production company through a recording studio here in Marietta, Georgia. Here, so shout to Charlemagne because I got some opportunities to be in an audio series. I'm a voice actor, so definitely shout to Charlemagne as well.
Oh, that's what's up. Well, once the studio, like I said, starts getting more opportunities, eventually we're gonna need voice actors. So, and then
Yeah.
also, once you edit this clip or this whole episode, send me that clip of you talking about Charlemagne so I can send it to him.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll definitely chop it up, give you some clips on it and everything. All right, man, I'm gonna sign out and I just want to leave you with this, Chris, man. In a world full of darkness, the spotlight is on you, fam. Thanks for watching Spotlight Series Podcast. I'm your host, Slick Sean. You can follow on Facebook, Spotlight Series Podcast, on IG, spotlight.series1. You can stream the podcast at spotlightseries.net, watch on Roku TV, Facebook Watch, IGTV, and stream on all podcast listening platforms. In a world full of darkness, the spotlight is on you.